Hello and welcome to Kramer's Corner with this technical update on US equities. This is meant to be a bi-weekly update with the most traded US equities amongst our clients. There will be other technical update on equities, European equities and Danish equities. Today we will cover Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta platforms, or Facebook as it was also called, Microsoft, Nvidia and Tesla. We'll start with Alphabet, or formerly known Google. It's been trading in this rising wedge-like pattern here, and it should break out eventually, whether it be upside or downside. Normally in a rising wedge-like pattern, it will break out around 1/3 of the way to the apex, and the apex is where these two lines are meeting each other, so we are very close to that. We are actually less than 1/3 from it. The RSI divergence, and divergence means that the RSI, or relative strength indicator, is not really supporting this uptrend here, or basically what it says, there's an imbalance in the market, so it is a weakening trend. But trend is your friend, so stick with it until there's indication of its ending and reversal. But for now, it's just a warning sign that the uptrend is weakening, and we need a breakout to the other side, and it should be to the downside. If RSI should be trusted here, it should be to the downside, where we then could see a correction with very strong support around 127.85. We also have the 55 daily moving average coming up here, adding some support, and the cloud area here also. So I don't see Google or Alphabet, this is the Alphabet C share that I'm showing, to be in a downtrend anytime soon. What is also interesting here on the weekly chart, we can see it's trading in this really steep rising channel here. There's a little bit of divergence, but it seems to be very close to be traded out, so indicating we could see higher levels after a possibly minor correction. Moving on to Amazon. Amazon formed a doji evening star like top and reversal pattern here a couple of days ago. We had a bullish move up here, then we had this doji-like candle, and then a break lower. So this is a top and reversal. There's also divergence on the RSI. Basically, it tells you that the uptrend has been weakening. Yesterday, Amazon tested the lower rising trend line here, so very close to break below. If it does closes below one of the next couple of days, well, then there could be a correction down to around 126. There will be some support at 131, around that level, and then it could actually drop lower to 126. If it moves higher, bounces off this rising trend line and moves higher, if it closes above the peak here at 145.86, it has cancelled this top and reversal pattern. But what is interesting here on the weekly chart, we can see how it is dancing around these levels here, and this one should be adjusted a little bit. Apologies about that. So 146.57, just around that level. You can see it got rejected there. So it looks a little bit toppish, at least on the short term. To reverse the uptrend medium term, it needs to close below these lower levels here around 126.10. Moving on to Apple. Apple looks a little bit depressed, but it's still holding on above the 170.76 support area, where it bounced a little bit here a few weeks ago, and it turned around here just a bit above here. So maybe we could see it try to move higher towards the 185 level, but we have the 55 moving average that is coming down here, acting a little bit as a resistance, and the really strong resistance is up here at 191.17, where there is a gap, and it is very interesting to look at these gaps. They're very important to look at. So when we're talking gaps, we're talking body gaps. So we're looking at these bodies here. We don't count the shadows or wicks. So it didn't really close the gap, and it needs to close above 191.17 to be back in a bullish trend. If it does close above 185.52, then it is quite possible it will also go for closing this gap. What we also have seen on the weekly chart here is that there was this big bearish engulfing here 6 weeks ago or so, and again, support here that should be observed. So it looks quite tubbish on Apple. Meta platform, formerly known as Facebook, bounced off the 275, just above the support here, 272.60. So it's still technically in an uptrend, but it seems a little bit weak. We had a bearish engulfing here. Bearish engulfing means that the body here engulfs the previous body. But still, I think we could see Meta trying to move higher, and if it gets back above the 312.87, the peak here a few days ago, well, then the uptrend is likely to continue. Microsoft, a little bit to the weak side, below the cloud, but 312.29 support area around here that should be observed. That is key the next couple of weeks for Microsoft. What we saw on the weekly chart, we had this shooting star here. You can see this little, and let's zoom in a little bit. We had this shooting star where market shot up and then collapsed and closed more or less at the opening price within a few dollars of a few cents, and that's what it calls shooting star. It's a top and reversal candle, and combined with divergence on the R side, you can see that the values of the R side declining. Then it looks like we should have another go at the support here at around 312.29. However, if buyers can lift Microsoft back above the cloud area here, I will say we should up back above at least the peak of this. We actually have a little bit of what we also call a doji evening star kind of pattern here, which is a top and reversal. So it needs to close above the high here, 340.86. Moving on to Nvidia, which has been really the star this year on the amongst the US equities. We had this Marabusa, as we call it, with very bearish candle, and it hasn't been cancelled just yet. So we are still in this top and reversal pattern, but it's really holding on quite nicely and still above the cloud. But if it does break below the cloud, the support around 401, it's really crucial for Nvidia. We can also see it here on the weekly chart, where it's really crucial that it should hold that. If it doesn't, then we could see a massive sell-off, especially if it drops below 373.50 and start closing this gap area. That is really, really crucial for Nvidia. For Nvidia to continue the uptrend, it really needs to cancel this top candle here, or this top and reversal candle. So it needs to close above 502.67. If it breaks back above the 466, well, then it could have another go at it, but I'm not that confident. Finally, Tesla. Tesla seems very strong at the moment. It is still in an uptrend after bouncing off the support here at just around 214, and we are still above the cloud. It actually dipped just below there, but we are back above the cloud, and we are also in a bullish sentiment on the RSI. So it looks fairly strong, although not that convincing, but it gapped up here. But if it closes this gap, and we can just very quickly draw a little bit of trend line, we don't want to see it closing below 251.20, then sellers could really come back in. But for now, we are in a short-term uptrend. What is interesting on the medium term, and looking at the weekly chart, is that it got rejected here at the upper falling trend line and very close to here again. So it seems like it's really trying to basically it's a bit indecisive, But if it takes out the previous peak here at 278.98 to 279 and takes out the other falling trend line, well, then there's room up to around 313, 314. And to totally change this bullish picture, and it's still medium-term bullish, it needs to break below 212.30. All right, that's all for this time. And I'll talk to you again shortly. There's also daily technical update tomorrow morning where I cover the market, commodities, equities, FX, interest rates. Until then, happy trading.